Live. I'm Arika Parr. Joining me now in the studio are Dr. Robert Hart Baker and Dr. Matt Fredrickson, who is the conductor and principal trombone, respectively, for the St. Louis Philharmonic Orchestra. Thanks so much for joining us, or joining me. The St. Louis Philharmonic Orchestra sounds so big and intimidating. Tell me about it. Tell me more about it.
Well, the orchestra's been around since 1860, and it's one of the pride organizations in St. Louis, of course, going back that far.
Yes.
And it's made up of musicians who volunteer their time. They're all professionally trained, and they rehearse once a week. They've been rehearsing once a week since the Civil War, so they got it right. And it's about 90 players, and we give about half a dozen concerts a year.
And you were telling me earlier that it was a very special person that kind of started your orchestra.
There was a society of people that wanted to see music in St. Louis, and among them was Mr. Eads, as in the Eads Bridge.
Wow, that's amazing.
And
I never knew.
He was an amateur flute player, and he was one of the founding members, and so every time you drive on that bridge, you can think of the Philharmonic.
Exactly, exactly. So I was saying it sounds very intimidating, but just ordinary people in regular clothes can come see the orchestra, right?
We give many concerts free of charge, and it's really called many times the People's Orchestra.
Okay.
There are a lot of, for instance, people who came from other countries who moved to St. Louis. They wanted to hear music of their homeland, things. In our audience, you might hear 20 languages spoken sometimes.
Wow, that's amazing.
So people really take the orchestra to
You're
heart.
the conductor, Robert, right?
Yes.
And what is your role?
So I'm the principal trombonist in the orchestra, and I also get to serve on the board.
And you teach too, don't you?
I'm the principal of Grand Center Arts Academy. It's right across the street from Powell Symphony Hall.
I've seen those kids in the windows.
Oh, yes.
Yes, I love that. That's excellent. Do they know what gem they have in you?
I don't know.
So speaking of that, so you teach kids, and anytime I interview people with a creative background, I always want to know what got you involved in music. So tell me about that spark that started this whole career.
Well, for me, I was fortunate enough, or unfortunate, depends on how you look at it, to have parents who were both music teachers.
Okay.
And so, my father was a band director, and my mother a choir teacher, and my dad would come home with instruments, and I saw these brass instruments. They just would shine, and I was so interested when I was a young kid. And I remember telling him I wanted to play the trumpet, and for my 4th grade, my birthday, he came home with the trombone. And I'm like, well, this isn't a trumpet. What is this?
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he says, he was the trumpet player, and all his brothers were trumpet players.
Oh,
but
okay.
he said, trumpet players are a dime a dozen. You need to work on trombone, you'll go far. And so I took his word and took his advice and went from there.
That's great. What about you, Robert?
I liked the sound of the duck in Peter and the Wolf.
Wow.
And I wanted to know what that instrument was, and it was the oboe. So my father drove to New York City and rented me an oboe.
Wow.
And that was my instrument. Also, I started music right when the Beatles came over, so I wanted a guitar too.
Oh, what Beatle did you want to be?
Well, I liked George because he was the literal guitar player in terms of playing all the kind of fancy stuff. So that gave me that start too. So I took guitar lessons and oboe lessons.
I love these stories. Parents really make the difference, don't they, when it comes to unveiling their child's creativity?
Well, and supporting, because there's no way either of us would have had any start without a willing parent.
And now you guys are giving back, right?
Absolutely.
So that's lovely. I love that. So we're going to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll have more with Robert and Matt. We'll be right back with more STL TV Live right after this.